Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, you get a special video here. The first creed of Christianity, everybody wants to deny. The first Christian creed created Christianity. And yet Christians, because of what the creed claims, believes that Christians existed prior to the creation of Christians, with the first creed of Christianity. And so Mormons, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, fall into the exact same trap. They too believe that Jesus Christ lived before the first creation of Christianity with Roman Emperor Constantine with the Nicene Creed. They just changed the nature and character of Jesus, Heavenly Father, and the Holy Ghost into non-Trinitarian. Whether or not Mormons understand that. So the scriptures that are claimed to be Christian, and claimed because of the first creed of Christianity that created Christianity, turned the Jewish scriptures into literal histories. They were not literal histories, because science can tell you this. There are numerous problems when you turn the scriptures into literal histories. And yet Christians deny, just as Mormons deny, that the Book of Mormon is not literal history. It has to be literal history for Mormons, just like the Bible has to be literal history for Christians. They're all wrong. They're all Jewish. And so it's prophecy and revelation, because there are dates given by the prophets and the stories contained therein. And so I shouldn't have to keep repeating this information over and over again in 3.9K plus videos. But unfortunately, people are new. And so this video is a repeat, but it's a different presentation because I don't have texts that I write out and read from a script, then file it away as video number such and such. Nope, just say whatever's on the top of my mind. And so if you knew the prophecies, you'd understand why. It took me until I found the prophecies, then I went, oh, okay, that's why I do that. Do you want to know? It's right there, the main one in the law of the Jews. Verse 18, Deuteronomy 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Just doing what I'm told to do. Come on. So, when the story of Jesus getting baptized by John the Baptist, there's a voice from heaven saying, behold, my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And because nobody wants to know Egyptian, nobody understands that the correct translation is, behold, my Son of Mary, in whom I am well pleased. Mary is Egyptian for beloved. So if they're going to use Peter and they're going to use Mary, they might as well translate it. So yeah, the mother of Jesus, who's supposed to be Emmanuel, is named Beloved. Okay, simple, easy breezy. In John chapter 20, the first day of the week is now called the seventh day of the week because it's called Sabbath day now. Because Christians turn this into literal history. No. This is the beginning of the week. The Sabbath has yet to happen. This is what happens when you turn this into literal history, when it's supposed to be prophecy and revelation. And so, you need to understand this in the context. It's the first year of the latter days. First year. Which is 2017. It says. Let's read. The first day of the week, the latter days, is 1 week. Technically 8 years, but 2017 to 2024 is 7 years. But you count 2017, so it's 8 years. Thus, Passover is 8 days. Tabernacles, 8 days. There's a reason for the season. Cometh beloved Magdalene. Mary. A different Mary, not the mother Mary. And she's being called beloved. Early, when it was yet dark. So this is a dualistic prophecy. It's birth as well as the beginning of the latter days. Because he was born in the twilight, 5:23 a.m. I referred to Ezekiel chapter 17, the parable of the eagle, taking that branch to San Francisco Bay Area. When it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. The Peter? Was it in a hat? It's seer. Not a coincidence. Then she runneth, and come to Simon Peter, seer, and to the other disciple. And here it's Simeon Peter. Simeon is a naughty boy. But Peter makes him the false seer of the latter days. Just like Herod, just like Pharaoh, just like Zedekiah, just like King Noah, and to the other disciple, whom Jesus loved, and saith unto them. We'd have to look and see which form of love it is in the Greek. We'll hope that the terrorism doesn't strike me while I do this. Freeze the camera. What verse was it? I'm seeing repent over and over again here. Okay, verse 2. Interesting. It's a completely different word altogether. Interesting. But it's close to Philo. So it's the brotherly love rather than the agape. And it's certainly not eros. Let's see. They have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchre, and we do not know where they have laid him. He is risen, raised up like a baby, restoring Joseph Smith's church from the insurrectionists. Peter therefore went forth, and that other disciple came to the sepulchre. So they ran both together, and the other disciple did outrun Peter and came first to the sepulchre. And he, stooping down and looking in, saw the linen clothes lying, yet went he not in. Then cometh Simon Peter following him, and went into the sepulchre. You do know that's the Shroud of Turin. They purposely manufactured it to prove that the Bible is literal history. I was a Boy Scout when I was taken by my dad to a super sacred meeting about the Shroud of Turin and how true it is. I just remember thinking, it's too short. He's supposed to be 6'5", I'm told as a kid. How was I to know? And the napkin that was about his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in one place by itself. They went in also the other disciple, which came first into the sepulchre, and he saw and believed. For as yet they knew not the scripture, that he must rise, insurrection, rising against, resurrection, a second rising. So thus rise is the first rising. Joseph Smith rose the church, Brigham Young insurrected the church, and the latter days it's supposed to be resurrected. And so, yes, Joseph Smith was murdered, along with it his church. Because Brigham Young did not use proper authority to claim it. Then the disciples went their way again unto their own home. Okay, so now we go to another story, inserted as if it's literal history by Christian interpretation only. Which is why they have a little parentheses thing in front of 11. But Mary stood without at the sepulchre, weeping like a sensitive snowflake. And as she wept, she stooped down and looked into the sepulchre, and seeth two messengers in white, sitting, the one at the head, the other at the feet, where the body of Jesus had lain. And they say unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? Why are they calling her woman? Are they sexist? No. If she were not a woman, she'd be called virgin or maiden. But virgin helps you understand better what it means. Maiden, people make up definitions to confuse you. So yes, a woman is one who has had a baby. She saith unto them, Because they have taken away my Lord, my master, her husband. And I know not where they have lain him. And when she had thus said, she turned herself back and saw the gardener standing. Or the postman or the plumber. Such an unfaithful woman. And knew not that it was Jesus. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She, supposing him to be the gardener, saith unto him, Sir, if thou hast borne him hence, tell me where thou hast lain him, and I will take him away. Jesus saith unto her, Beloved. Too many people complain because of Christianity that Jesus never got married. She turned herself and said unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. Already said that. Lord. Husband. Jesus saith unto her, We cannot have sex, for I have not yet ascended to the throne of my Father. But go to thy brethren and say unto them, I ascend to the throne of my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God. Beloved Magdalene came and told the disciples that she had seen the Lord and that he had spoken these things unto her. Okay? So thus, the first year, he goes to the church. The woman is likened unto the church. This we get from Revelation in the Joseph Smith translation. Chapter 12. Click on the link. Verse 7. And the dragon prevailed not against Michael, neither the child, nor the woman, which was the church of God, see, who had been delivered of her pains and brought forth the kingdom of God and his Christ, the child. So is it just giving birth to buildings? No, there's got to be the Christ. That's the child, Emmanuel. Too many seminary teachers don't want to read into what's being said beyond what's being said. Even though it's blatantly obvious. Oh, it's deep doctrine. I don't want to go beyond the mark. Technically it's Jupiter, and Jupiter is the same as the Greek Zeus, and Zeus is the same as the Hebrew Yah, and Yah is the same as the Egyptian Amun, the sun god at noonday. Okay, so we're now going to tell you about the Egyptian document from which those came from. We're going to go to the second death of Osiris, because the first death has to do with some other symbolic prophecies for the latter days. You have Osiris, who had been restored to Heliopolis, the sun city, and Set found out that he was still alive. And so, this time, he murdered Osiris, his brother, by chopping his body into 14 pieces. Other texts say 42 for the 42 nomes, provinces of Egypt at the time. But you can see why the change in numbers specifically deals with the author's interpretation. But it's 14 because of the 12 tribes of Israel. We'll get to it. And so Set breaks the body of Osiris and throws his bloody severed pieces into the Nile River. And the Nile River goes northward into the delta, into the Mediterranean, and out into the Atlantic and all around the world. The scattering of the body of Osiris. So Isis sends out her servants to gather in the body parts of Osiris back to the sun city of Heliopolis, and assembles them together, but there's the 14th piece missing. No one-eyed serpent. Or the color blue, for those of you who are clueless, rather than the color pink. And so she makes one. And then she turns into a bird, hovers above, and impregnates herself. There's the big clue. Why didn't you just say it, Travis? Because it's born. It's all over facsimile number 2. Whole bunch of them. And so she conceives Horus, the Christ of the Egyptians, who was to return in the latter days to restore the throne of his father, who died for us with 9-inch nails in the first death. And so she has to flee into the wilderness, because Set found out that she restored Osiris back to life, even though he ascended into heaven, where the earth louds his fame. Traitors and tyrants screwed it up. Praise to the man who communed with Jehovah. Oh my God. Traitors and tyrants shall fight him in vain, mingling with gods. He communes with his brethren. Jesus anointed the prophet. I screwed that up, didn't I? Caught on yet? Trying to cheat and give you clues in advance. And so Set sends his army to destroy the church and the child, Isis and the child. So she flees into the wilderness. So verse 6, the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, and they should feed her 1,260 days, which is 1260, which would be 3.5 years, but it's 1,000. He keeps using 3.5 as his pattern in numbering. And so he was Horus was raised in the west in the desert area, and was taught by his mother all about the rituals of the religion. And David came and taught him all about the kingdom, as Emmanuel is the son of David, descendant of David, Messiah ben David. And then he was old enough, went back to the kingdom and challenged Set for the throne. And on the very first day, Set plucks out his right eye for a solar eclipse to start the latter days. And in the end, Horus won, proving that he is a branch through the insurrectionist Set. And therefore has the keys and the authority, demonstrating the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian, where Set did not. He just claimed the titles, denied the power thereof. And so, upon victory, he was ascended to the throne of his father and married with his little honey bunny Amunet. Okay, it's Mrs. Amun if we were to translate it into our current cultural English. So like a wife is called Mrs. Goodsell in my particular case. Which, sun god, same thing. Weird. How'd that happen? Alrighty. So, yeah, Isis is the wife. She's also the mother. Depends on the story. And so, not a coincidence that Matthew starts off with Mary, who gives birth to Emmanuel, the sun god. And so, here at the first week of the latter days, first year, you have Mary. He's repeating the same prophecy in Revelation throughout his whole book. He's just using different stories to repeat it, to help you visualize the interpretation. Because stories are visual. Because that's how the Egyptians wrote them. That's where they got them from. So, should we go back over this again? But Isis stood at the empty coffin, tomb, weeping. The church is gone, there's no authority. And then Emmanuel comes, Horus, saying unto her, why are you weeping? Because they have assassinated Joseph Smith. And the latter-day Christ, I have no idea where he is. You're looking right at him. You're hearing his voice, and you don't know who he is. And so, Emmanuel says unto his beloved Amenet, because it's not his mother in this story. And so she just assumes that he's a lowly person of no authority. And so he says unto her, beloved. And then she wants to have sex with him. No, 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 abstinence only. Hilarious. No, I have not yet ascended is the coronation of the wedding supper feast of the Lamb at the Zion Temple. And for that, we go to Revelation 19, in verse 9. Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Oops, we got to go back to 7. The marriage supper of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. The authors are both named John. It's just a different way to tell the story of Mary at the tomb. And so, verse 11 and verse 17 give us the date of when the time is. Verse 11, and I saw the heaven opened, sign in the heavens, a precise day and hour. But no man knoweth the day and the hour. But there it is. Who are you going to believe? Somebody who added it in and you believe was a part of the original text, or the original author who says, here's the date? Quit arguing. Behold, a white horse in heaven. That's Pegasus. On the back of Pegasus is Pisces. And he that sat on him is the sun god at noonday. Verse 12, flame of fire, and had a name written that no man knew. That's Amun, the Egyptian sun god at noonday, if you know the stories of him. And so he's wearing the red shirt rather than the gray shirt, or the white shirt, or the black shirt, or the green shirt, or the blue shirt. And so an angel, verse 17, is standing in the sun on the back of the white horse in Pisces. A solar eclipse. But I'm not a prophet, seer, revelator, or translator of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian, because Mormon said so. It's actually a Christian that said so. None of your prophecies have ever come true. What the hell? I'm the only one who told you. I looked for the one on 23rd September 2017 from Revelation 12. There was only one other guy, and everybody believed him. Only 40,000 people came to my video about it. But that other guy knew nothing about the total solar eclipse. I did in that video. 2017. Hey, that's the start of the latter days. No duh. So yes, the 21st of August 2017 was the first religious calendar new year of the Egyptians. And it was a total solar eclipse. How did they know? You need to understand that recorded history only goes back as far as the pyramid texts. But the pyramid texts speak of previous texts that we have yet to find. Because those aren't the origin stories. It goes way back. Because the Narmer pellet, which is older, has Horus on it. And some other stuff. And so, yeah, it goes way back in time. Way back. Super way back. Alrighty? So, there you have it. Virgo, which was 21st or 23rd of September 2017, and also the eclipse, the second day of darkness, or second hour of darkness, depending on the story that's being told, was 14th of October 2023. That's Samson's wife getting burned with the ring of fire, among others. They're death signs. And so 3 Nephi 11 is death sign. And so that you would know, Joseph Smith knows about this, because yeah, we're on 19. So where are you? You had it before, why don't you have it here? There you are. 58:11. And after that day and after that cometh the day of my power. Then shall the poor, the lame, and the blind, and the deaf come in unto the marriage of the Lamb, and partake of the supper of the Lord, prepared for the great day to come. And we're going to go back to, yea, a supper of the house of the Lord. That's the temple. So thus a marriage supper feast of the Lamb at the temple of Zion, where he's ascended to the throne. So, facsimile number 3. There's a reason why Joseph Smith put them in order. Only 3 of them were selected, and they were put in that order by Joseph on purpose. So the first one, there you have Osiris on the lion couch. Where did that eclipse take place in the heavens? In the lion constellation, right next to the star Regulus, the king star, for the death of the king. No king, na 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 na. Fools, there shall be a king. Trump shall be king in the first year, but shall not win in 2020. But they failed, and so now we got to do it again in 2024. 3 Nephi chapter 7. sure enough, he didn't win. Just as the Book of Mormon told us. I guess the Book of Mormon was giving them too much credit for their plot 200 years ago. And so I worded it specifically from 19 and 58 because of the parable given about the king who prepared a feast for his son who was going to take over the throne and get married. That's what it's referring to. It's just a parable of the two different stories that are told by the authors of John. Prophecy and Revelation. This is the manner of the Jews. And so, also of note, in facsimile number 1, I guess I should look at it rather than trying to search in my brain for associative memory. Everybody knows about the rats that chewed out the portion, and thus Exfo Nevermose complained that Anubis doesn't carry a knife with him, even though he did, because he has to cut open the chest to pull out the organs after whipping it up an enema thing to get the stuff liquefied out. It's the whole mummification process. And then the organs get placed into the canopic jars below the lion couch. And so yes, he does have a knife. And dear God, Egyptologists should have been able to tell you this. Why they didn't means they don't know Egyptian. But there's a bird in the original document in that location, because it's in many other documents exactly like this one, or similar, that is representing of both Isis getting impregnated and Horus, who's the Son, who's the Christ to come. And notice, instead of in the mummification, he's in the position of prayer in Egyptian, if you stand him upright. That's the symbol for prayer in Egyptian, the sign. With the one foot forward, the other foot back, both hands up. And so, yes, a Mormon apologist figured it out correctly. That's not his hand, it's the wing of the bird that's in that position. But they have no clue what it means. It means that this is Kamambo, from where this was first obtained. The temple at Kamambo, because that's the only temple in all of Egypt that has both Sobek and Horus. It's all over the walls. Kamambo, right there. So, regardless of the literal history of the papyri, you can see how the biblical authors use this to tell their story. He's praying for deliverance. He's alive. He's not dead. And so thus resurrected, restoring the original church. But the insurrectionist is trying to kill him. Revelation chapter 12. And so then you have a messenger, who is the Bobbard, and the prince. So guess what Joseph puts in his translation for Abraham chapter 1? He knows that the prince is also there, despite being chewed up by rats. Ta-da! And nobody believes Joseph. So sad. And this one's full of peni. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, There's probably some more in the text. Then going around the outer edge, where did we leave off? 16 or 17? But there's two more. There's a third. And everybody only complains about figure 7. But notice, it's got a ring around the main hypocephalus. That's the eye of Amun, Horus. Horus is also called Son Amun. That should sound familiar to Mormons. And represents a solar eclipse. A ring of fire solar eclipse. Ring of fire. 14th of October, 2023. Over Utah. The religion. The woman, Virgo. Joseph knew exactly what he was doing and trying to help Mormons figure it out so that you would know the day and the hour and when to look for him. Your Christ. And then facsimile number 3, Joseph never got to it. And yeah, he screws it up. He switches the bride and the groom around. They're getting married. The wedding supper feast of the Lamb at the Zion Temple. Ta-da! Horus. With his little Amunet, holding hands, getting married, and thus his father is on the throne, and his mother wearing the crown of Hathor from Stargate. Not Isis, which is the throne. Instead of the horns of Hathor with the solar disk, which they colored red, almost as if it's a lunar blood moon eclipse. For religion. Sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. And sure enough, Hathor is told in stories of drinking red wine and going on a murder spree. Blood bath. 2024. Alright, any other questions? And yeah, I could be more specific if I were to write it out and do a paper on it, which would turn into a book because of all the information. It would turn into volumes of books, technically, because it's a visionary language. There's a whole bunch of stuff to pull from it. I only covered a portion of the greater whole that there is to talk about here. So yeah, I could be spending a whole book just talking about the specific crown that Osiris is wearing there in facsimile number 3. So, let's go over some of the Egyptian pictures that I collected for this video. So yeah, the sacrament. Yeah, I'd say that I skipped some stuff. I was supposed to tell you, wasn't I? They brought the body parts back, and so the gathering of Israel. Missionary work. Gathering back to Zion. The key of Moses, which is the Christ key of Joseph Smith. Not Peter, James, and John for missionary work. No, this is the gathering key of the latter days, the key of the Christ, Horus. And so, Mormons gather to sacrament meeting and partake of the broken bread of Osiris, Joseph Smith, and the blood of Joseph Smith, in remembrance of his murder by Brigham Young. And the promise, for this we got to go to 2 Nephi chapter 3. Verse 5. Joseph Smith, to be remembered in the covenants of the Lord, that the Messiah, Ben David, should be manifest unto Mormons in the latter days. Thus the whole purpose of Joseph Smith establishing the temple, establishing the church, having the Book of Mormon to teach Mormons about the religion that they're supposed to have, not Christian Jesus. And so yes, they use raise up on purpose, not just because it comes from Deuteronomy 18:15 through 19, which should have footnoted to that. But Bruce R. McConkie did not want you to know. And so yeah, I had put a whole bunch of footnotes to all of the scriptures that needed to be footnoted back to Deuteronomy 18. And as I went over with you, David Gaunt said, no, it's Jesus. And so nothing gets changed except that which was already in the original, and had to remove the TGs and Bible dictionaries from it because they're changing it to Guide to the Scriptures. But oops. And so it comes from section 107, talking about the quorum have to be united in every decision, unanimously decided. If there's a dissenter, nothing gets done. And so they applied that to our committee group. Thus, it is the way it is. All because David Gaunt ruined it with his ignorance of being a seminary teacher for 16 years at that point, to preach another Christ when he was right there in his midst, looking at him, with him. And David Gaunt was angry and wanted to cast him out and stone him, just like the prophets of old, Joseph Smith and Hiram. Amazing how the scriptures are so true. Notice that they called Joseph Smith a seer rather than a prophet. Not a coincidence. And so, yeah, that's what it is. And so thus the sacrament is for married couples internally taking in, because Virgo is out in outer space. She doesn't actually get pregnant. The planets go right there by her mouth into her body and then out the back end. So thus a lot of times impregnation is through the mouth for the Egyptians for that reason, because it's referring to a sign in the heavens. You can't get pregnant through the mouth. Just letting you know in case you're confused because you weren't taught sex ed. Oh my god, we're in an hour. Yeah, this is going to be tomorrow morning's video. Crap. Alrighty. And so, yeah, you partake of it, and thus your wife, you have sex and have babies, right? Because that's the prophecy, is that the Messiah is to come through Mormons. And so Mormons go to church to partake of the sacrament in remembrance of the coming of the Christ through a lucky woman and a lucky man. And so then you have Moses, chapter 7, verse 53. Blessed is he through whose seed Messiah shall come. Ta-da! I am Messiah, King of Zion, seer of heaven, rock of heaven, Rock of Angels, still rolling. Do we want to do Def Leppard instead? It's Rock of Ages rather than Rock of Angels. So no, we won't. Should be Rock of Angels. You do Send Me an Angel. Do you believe in heaven above? Or the Scorpions version. Send me an angel. Got the other one instead. Movie soundtrack. Alrighty. So yeah, if Mormons knew, none of the guys would have ever gotten married. Because the woman would say, your name isn't Sun God. I'm only married into the Sun God family. Well, your name is not Judy. So there. And you're going, what, Judy? Huh? I thought I was supposed to be Mary. No. Who told you I was supposed to be Mary? That's beloved. You gotta go to Esau. That's the prophecy of her name. See, when Jacob, it's actually before, isn't it? Or was it right after he loses the birthright and blessing? Gotta go check. Gotta go check. We'll just waste more time. Let's see. Send me an angel. Send me an angel. Okay. Judith. 26? Yeah, it is before. Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Bari the Hittite. And so she's not of the family. He marries outside of the family of the great and abominable church. See how they're using the symbolism there? And Esau is red because he's supposed to have a red shirt. Isaiah and Revelation. And interestingly, his one of his sons is called Ra, the sun in Egyptian. So, yeah. And so, yeah, he marries a woman out of the covenant. And then, yeah, oh, wait a minute. 26, he does. Okay, this is the father of the king called Isaac and impregnates Rebekah, which is the same as Abraham and Pharaoh impregnating Sarai. Interesting. And so thus, in the same chapter, they have Esau marrying somebody out of the covenant. But this is the blessing. The pottage comes earlier. Yeah, here it is, 25. See, this is the birthright with the pottage. This goes to the battle where Set gives birth to the branch through the tossed salad. Pottage. That's where this comes from. So he loses his birthright to be the tribal leader. And then there's the impregnation of Rebecca by the father of the king. And then Esau marries Judith. And then the blessing is stolen from Esau, which is for the coming of the Christ through his family line. So he loses authority, and then he loses prophecy and revelation. Fascinating. And the wife, or the mother, is the one who helps him steal it, just like in the Egyptian story. Isis helps Horus to win. All of this comes from the Egyptian documents. So yeah, if I were to continue on Academia, I still have the book that shows you which Genesis stories from creation to the flood come from which Egyptian stories. And so if I were to continue on, I'm going over it with you right now. And so yes, facsimile number 1 is Abraham. You can put Abraham there, you can put Isaac, you can put Jacob, you can put Noah, you can put Shem, you can put Adam, doesn't matter. You can put Abel. You can put Samson, you can put Jesus. All depends on the story you want to tell and which character name you want to use. Because it's all prophecy and revelation. It's not literal history. That's where people get screwed up. And so yeah, 32 is when they're wrestling. After Jacob meets Rachel and is forced to marry Leah, who has heavenly eyes but oh those thighs. Sighs. 7 brides for 7 brothers. Which is where they got it from, in case you didn't know. Jacob had to do 7 years and 7 years more, and and so Rogers and Hammerstein, is it? Yeah, that's where they got it from the Bible. And thus you hear the Bible being spoken. Dorcas, the Catwoman from the TV series Batman. And the porn scene where they're all in their underwear. Denying sex. Hilarious. Alrighty. Yeah, there's here's the one. Isis impregnated by Osiris. And so yeah, you're still wondering about the number 14. 12 sons, 1 daughter, Dinah. No blue color. So that's only 13, Travis. Joseph gets a double portion as the birthright blessing son. 13 boys, 1 daughter. 14. So, yeah. And this particular one has Horus there at his feet, which would be typically where the woman would be shown with the baby at her feet. And so there, even though it's the impregnation, and then you've got another bird at the head with a particular guy, and it looks like the cartouche is scratched out to identify who the guy at the head is. And they love to do damage, to cover up and hide, but is that Osiris? the throne, yeah. Osiris, and then the plural with multiple waters. And it looks like a mummified body. And then the name. And a cartouche. The one for R. And that looks like Amun, sun god at noonday. Because there's the sun symbol, and then there's the game, and that would be the water symbol above it. And then the actual determinative there at the end of the deity. So there's Amun in the final cartouche. Then there's the Egyptian Ankh, the sandal straps of John the Baptist for eternal life. Daniel for all time, please. You must have not used Budge. Don't know why they keep printing either of them. There's so yeah, fun stuff. Alright, we're done. I just wanted to go over that with you because I was told to. There's a better picture. Yeah, you have different animals that are involved and that are in different places, and a woman is at the head in this place. It could have been a woman at the head. Can't tell, there's too much damage at the body. But no, there is not a beard, so yeah, it could be a female. Yeah, it's most likely a female for the other picture as well at the head. But notice the lion couch. There's a reason for the season. And then you have Osiris down below, has a little tiny miniature, and then you've got two serpent cobras behind him, and then some other character that's damaged. Yeah, there's Isis getting impregnated, and yes, that's exactly what's sticking in his pocket. Is that a flashlight, or are you happy to see me? Porn. Yeah, it's Constantine who turned everything porn. The first commandment is to have sex, and Christianity ruined it. No fun at all. Who would want to be Christian if you can't have sex?